Those who were in the boat did him homage, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God. Truly, you are the Son of God." What is it to have faith? I describe it as a being convinced. A living faith is to be convinced in something or in someone. How convinced are we that Jesus, in fact, is the Son of God? Every Sunday we stand and profess our faith. We say out loud, "I believe in one Lord Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God, born of the Father before all ages, God from God, light from light, true God from true God." Like the disciples in the boat, we're saying those same words. Truly, Jesus, you are the Son of God. What evidence do we have to be convinced of such an astonishing truth? Well, virtually every page of the Gospels, when we look at the life of Jesus, he is saying or doing something to prove to us that he is God. And Jesus, in fact, he does what only God could do. He turns the substance of water into wine. He cures lepers, heals the blind. He multiplies the loaves to feed the 5,000. He calms storms simply by his word. He forgives sin. And to prove so, he physically heals the one whose sins he's forgiven, the paralytic. In this gospel, Jesus, he walks on water. This is hearkening back to the very beginning of time, the opening verses of the entire Bible. When we hear the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters. Again and again, Jesus is reported doing what only God can do. He has the power of God. But even further in himself, he speaks with this audacious authority, the authority of God alone. As mentioned, he claims to forgive sin. And the people scandalize, they protest. Who but God alone can forgive sin? As mentioned, he heals the paralytic to show that indeed he is God. He makes himself the Lord of the Sabbath. But maybe even most astonishingly, he not only utters the divine name of God out loud, which was punishable by death, but he attributes the very name of God to himself. Again and again, Jesus, by what he says and does, is proving that he is God. And in this gospel, perhaps we can go over it or miss it. Jesus, he's not only walking on the waters, like the Spirit of God hovering over the waters, the very beginning of the Bible. But even with his words, he's telling the disciples, "I'm God." He says, "Take courage. It is I." That's the divine name. It is I. I am who am, which was revealed to Moses in the burning bush. And he attributes that to his very self. Jesus, he's showing us that he is indeed the Son of God, inviting us to faith. But ultimately, the only real way to prove that Jesus is not the divine Son of God is to kill him. Because God can't be killed. And this is, in fact, what we tried to do, nailing him to the cross. And yet, even death could not hold him. God cannot be defeated. To have faith, yes, it is in assent, a trusting in all the facts, on the one who's giving the facts. And it is a being convinced for us to truly ask, are we convinced? Are we convinced that Jesus is the divine Son of God? That beautiful prayer, Jesus, we believe, yet help our unbelief.